Hey booger eaters, it's Jonesy. So welcome in. This is my new vlog I'm gonna be working on. This is called The Call to Adventure, and we're gonna do a lot of talking about storytelling. We're gonna talk about other stuff too. So pretty narrow subject matter, but you know, mostly storytelling. We want to get into forms of storytelling and everything like that. That's why we called it The Call to Adventure. All right, so anyway, today we are going to talk about reboots. Because in a way, this is a reboot for me because, you know, I've vlogged before and I hosted a podcast for a time, but both those projects are long since abandoned. I mean, I haven't done anything for a while, but I still have that appetite here for storytelling and for creating things, and since I'm passionate about storytelling, I can talk to you guys about storytelling, and I can probably try to have you guys keep me accountable for all my goals. I'm hoping. The ultimate goal is just, you know, start writing again, improve yourself, lose a little weight, you know. And I figured, you know, everyone wants to hear about my personal life and my personal attempts at goal making, so why not just share it with all of you? All right, so in storytelling, the most common form of storytelling or structure is broken down into 3 acts. It's a little bit of an oversimplification, but that is the most common way that we talk about stories, that we talk about how they're built and the forms they take. So in Act 1, you get to meet your hero. In Act 1, you get to meet the main character. That's where the main character is first introduced to the audience. The audience gets to get a little taste of what makes the main character tick, what he or she is made of, what drives them. You get to see those little flaws that make up his character, and even though he doesn't realize it, or she, the audience, they get to put their finger on it and say, this guy here, this right here, this is Act 1. I'm your hero, Jonesy. It's a pleasure to meet you. Jonesy, just a large fella who likes to talk to himself sometimes. I also like to do accents. Oh, hey, pack your cat. Hey, you know, honestly, I'd like to be a little bit less large in the end. I'd also like to start writing again. So here we are. Those are my flaws. I also like to write, and I haven't done that for a long time. And so I'd like to remedy that. I'd like for writing to become more of a thing that I do every day. I'd also be like a little bit less large of a fella. Not a lot, you know, just a little. Not diabetic. That's all I'm looking for. All right, so we move on to Act 2 now, after we've met our hero. And this is where the hero starts to change. He starts to incrementally change, but each incremental change is met with a sudden obstacle. A sudden obstacle is thrown his way, and he has to overcome those on his journey to becoming whatever it is he's going to become, or to achieving whatever it is he's going to achieve. And it's not uncommon for most of these stories for the destination to seem completely out of reach, out of grasp for the hero. But you, dear audience, you guys know better. You know that somewhere out there, that hero can get to where he needs to be. And then somewhere along the way, you know, the hero slays a dragon and is perfect, I think. I think that's how it works. And then Act 3 is the end of the story. That is where the journey ends. And, you know, maybe that particular journey ends there, but that hero might have other journeys. This story, however, this one right here, the one that I'm going to tell on this vlog, this is the beginning of Act 2. Everything that has come before, all the vlogging I've done, all the podcasting I've done, everything I've set up until this point is exposition. That's Act 1. You guys now know me, and now we can move forward into Act 2. You know, I know that nobody watched before, and, you know, all of you are probably thinking, like, if we're just starting to watch, we're just going to get to know you, so this is Act 1. But this is Act 2. It's my metaphor, and you don't need to ruin it. You guys should just be able to enjoy things. Okay, just enjoy things for a change. Welcome to the Reboot, Booger Eaters. Hey guys, it's Jaron. It's Jay McCaffrey. He's a YouTuber superstar.
Yeah. What's up, Booger Eaters?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
That's fine. Only when you're here, though.
Only when I'm here. Yeah. No, sure thing.
We're talking about reboots.
Yeah, you love those.
Yeah, sure do. So, where do you fall on them? Good or bad?
Would I fall on them?
Yeah.
I like a reboot. Where I fall on a reboot, I'm in favor of a reboot if there's a vision behind it.
Mm-hmm.
When we have something new to add, something, a new take on the story, something like that, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
When we're just trying to recreate something that was already good, then I'm out on it.
Why bother?
Right.
Okay.
We just watched this thing that was already good.
Well, my next question was going to be what makes a good reboot, but I think you just told us.
Well, I can expand on it a little more.
No, it's okay. I got a doozy for you for the question.
All right.
I hate reboots.
I think I know that about you.
Okay. So, and here's why.
Okay.
I believe that if we're creating new stories,
Right.
let's do something different.
Yep.
Okay? Now, that's really all there is to it.
Okay.
Okay? Because there's plenty of space to make something different. Even if it's, derivative of, let's say, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Okay?
So if it's middle-aged
Yeah.
mutant samurai armadillos.
Right. Even if it's that.
You'd rather have that than another take on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, convince me I'm wrong. I'm ready to be wrong.
Okay. To convince you I'm wrong. Okay, so first of all, I have some thoughts.
Okay.
First of all, I would say so I think that the idea of the reboot, the want to make a reboot, is deeply ingrained in us as people. All the way back, I see reboots as a continuation of the oral tradition. Okay. So, historically, all our stories were passed down because somebody would tell you, and then you would tell somebody else, and then they would tell somebody else. And so each time it would change a little bit because of the person telling it, but it's the same story over and over again. I think that's the same thing as artists. I think we have a desire to put our own stamp on the things that have inspired us. I think stories can be changed based on the time, right?
Definitely.
They can be changed in different ways. You can tell essentially the same story in different ways and through a different lens and as a different part of the time. And I don't think there's enough difference between being, would you say, like derivative, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough difference between telling, Rambo and Commando, right? That we should not just do Rambo again.
Rambo again.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not a 1-to-1 ratio by any means. I know Rambo and Commando are not the same movies, but those.
Well, the new one is though. Like.
Right.
That new Rambo looks just like Commando.
Yeah.
Which is all well and good. So, I guess that's not my point. But my point is that if you can tell new stories and take into account the time and take into account whatever kind of narrative you want to tell and introduce the world to new characters and everything like that, I just think that that's more valuable. But I see what you're saying, like the oral tradition thing. That's correct. That's spot on. Like I like that take. I've never heard that articulated. That's spot on. That's a good reason. Like and nostalgia factors. Like right. So I'm a fan of comics from way back. I'm a fan of comic book movies. There's been some that I don't like.
Right.
and I'll see them and say, I could have done this better.
Yep.
Or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Like. So you get into that thing where you're a fan and you're a fan of something and it's like you want to take ownership of it because it's kind of your thing. But my thing is I think there's a little bit of toxicity in that. And now when we're talking about comic books and stuff like that, those stories have been told by hundreds of people,
Right.
if not 1,000.
They've already been rebooted a bunch.
Yes, it's been told by hundreds of people over the course of time. So that might be a bad example, but I just think that that's where that ownership of this is my thing, this is my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this is how they need to be, I think that gets toxic. And I think a big part of that is fans taking ownership of it, but I also think a big part of it is, as storytellers, the things we like, we want to take ownership of it too.
Yeah.
Like when we watch wrestling, we're going to see stuff, especially more modern stuff where it's like, not my thing.
Right. I see that. I see that a lot.
Yeah. Not our thing.
That's become like my thing.
Not our. Yeah, exactly. but guess what? It's a lot of other people's things.
Yeah.
And it's the stuff that they've come into, and that's the stuff that they love. And it's like, we can keep doing what we're doing, but we don't need to change the direction of all of that kind of storytelling. That's kind of where I come at with it. Like, the toxic fandom thing is one thing, but like, I would rather see new things, right? New things that I can become a fan of.
Right.
Like, new things that I can get invested in. Even though I may want those new things to still be Batman every time. Like, okay, but I can move on to something that's not Batman. I've seen Batman a million times, and 400 people have told Batman's story over the years, for good or bad. Right?
Yeah.
So I want to hear new stories, but I also want to hear them about new characters.
I think there has to be room for both.
Yeah.
So I think that the toxic fandom thing that you're talking about, I see that as an obstacle to the reboots, not a symptom of the reboots, right?
Sure.
But I also think that that's, I also think that that's a part of the appeal for, part of the argument for reboots is, to work against that kind of toxic fandom. Think about all the different versions of the Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. If nobody ever rebooted the Joker, we wouldn't have the Heath Ledger version, which is your favorite.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
My favorite is from the animated series, Batman the Animated Series, which is a reboot from the several versions that had already existed in the comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we weren't rebooting ideas, if Chris Nolan had never rebooted Batman, you wouldn't have your favorite version of the Joker.
Taking that spin on that Joker. Yeah, and I think that maybe that's the difference, like, of what I like when they reboot Ghostbusters, right? And it's an all-female cast, and it's this different take on the thing. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But we don't have to have that in a separate universe as what everything else is, right? Like, Dan Aykroyd doesn't have to be driving a taxi cab. He can still be Ray Stantz in that movie. Like, that's weird to me. I like that movie. I'm not as an example. Like, I'm just like, that's weird to me.
I get what you're saying, and I made that argument several times before it came out.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Although I love the scene with Dan Aykroyd. That's one of my favorite.
Bill Murray's awesome,
it's just some free floating apparitions.
All right, man. You know what? I think you convinced me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot about what I look at as reboots is more the stuff that I deride, and I don't think of Nolan doing a new spin on something that's been rebooted a million times as a reboot, right? So, like, I'm thinking of Starsky and Hutch movies and 21 Jump Street. I like both of those movies, fine. I got a kick out of them.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why they're being made. Like, why are we not making whatever? It's still Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum being hilarious. Yeah. Okay? So the only thing we don't get with that is we don't get the cameos at the end of Grieco and Depp.
Right. So can I present one more thing that I think maybe you could take into consideration?
Sure.
Because kind of what you're saying there is almost like, because the Joker has already been rebooted 100 times easily, you don't recognize it as a reboot now. So we're at an age where we're starting to see some of the things we saw the first of getting rebooted.
Yeah.
And so, like, that first time, it's a little jarring. In 50 years, when they've been rebooted 4 or 5 times, it won't be as jarring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people then will be like, I like I saw this old movie with You know?
Yeah.
Remember the old Inception? Yeah. Oh man, the new version's so much better. You know?
I'll have to get the real sound.
Good.
It's better than me.
Yeah. No, I think yours is better. I was just gonna ask if Nolan used you for the trailer.
That's why I got all this money. All right, man. I appreciate you doing that for me,
man.
I'm gonna make my determination.
Yep.
Reboots are fine. I still like the capital, the creative capital that's used on them. I'm like, can we make something different? But there is room, like you said. There's room for that.
Yep.
Because not everything's just a derivative.
Yeah. And if we only had reboots, I would not be in support of that.
Yeah. That'd be bad. All right, man.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. What are we doing this year?
Are we doing it?
Starting in like 30 days.
In like 30 days?
Yeah.
30 days from today?
Well,
are you ready?
Not good.
Are you ready? What do they call it? So it's pre-tober right now, right?
Today's pre-tober.
Pre-tober.
Or Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
NaNoWriMo.
Jonesy, let's do NaNoWriMo.
All right, dude, I'm in.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. I haven't tried it in a couple of years.
When was the last time you tried it?
2017.
2017, so 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, just 1 year. You only missed 1 year.
I only missed 1 year. Well, I didn't, but I've never finished it. Right? So I tried it in 16 and 17, didn't finish. Made it further in 16 than I did 17.
Okay.
But it's hard, man. And I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that buddy there for encouragement and to keep me honest and to keep me on task.
I'll be there, man.
All right.
I'll try. I have never done NaNoWriMo. All right. This will be my first attempt.
Good. Are you making plans now? Or are you just gonna sit down on November 1st and just start letting the words flow?
Doesn't sound possible.
Well, no, having an idea.
I have an idea marinating in my head.
Cool.
I'm not going to do any outlining, any writing, any planning, official planning, like any concrete planning for it.
Seat of your pants. I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and I'm just gonna go for it because I have the idea marinating. Stephen King talks about. I've heard him say he tells himself a story like before he goes to bed every night. Right, and he tells it, and then once he gets a grasp on it, then he writes it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't have like a time, like I don't lay in bed and go tell myself, but
that spark is up there, and it's working. Like that.
The grain of sand is becoming a pearl.
Yeah, that better be in there.
That's not part of the story.
So I'm gonna try to pants it this time too, because and a big part of that is like I've spent time world building, and we'll get to November 7th and I'll say, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then I'll just spend the next 3 days not writing and working on the structure of my story or the plot or this character or whatever. And I don't want to do that.
Yep.
I just want to hit my 50,000 words, put it down, take a break for 20 days, 30 days, and then come back and read it and see if I have anything there. If there's something there that I can improve, that I can change, that all that stuff.
Yeah. So the story I'm writing is not the kind of thing I've ever written before. I don't want to get into the weeds on like world building and stuff like that to where I start over anticipating and over developing stuff. I want to sit down and let the story flow.
Perfect.
And then when the story is finished, then when the first draft is finished, then I can go back and make the world consistent and evaluate that kind of stuff then. Yeah, so I'm right there with you.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna do this, dude.
I'm excited.
It's 30 days of writing.
30?
What is it?
31?
No, 30.
30? Only 30 in November? Okay.
It's 2,000 words a day.
2,000 words a day?
I think.
Yep.
There's no way it's 2,000 words a day. That'd be 60,000 words.
No, it's like 167, something like that.
So it's almost 2,000 words a day.
Almost.
It's always good to get off to a hot start because that's the easiest time to write in my vaunted experience. When that seed's planted,
when it's fresh.
Yeah, man, it's that spark's moving around in there, and then you hit somewhere in there that wall. But we're not going to do that this year. We are writing a story, each one of us, and we're going to keep each other honest, keep each other on it. And I'm going to tell you people all about it. We're going to tell you people all about it. Jaren's going to keep coming back, and we are going to keep talking about storytelling.
Sounds good to
me. He's going to keep trying to convince me I'm wrong.
I got it.
All right,
I'm ready.
I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, dude.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. I will see you guys next time. I forgot the name of my show. I will see you guys next time on the Call to Adventure. It looks like I'm putting my thumb in my nose when I do this.
I like. You should just. That's how you should give thumbs up. Just jam it up there.
That's how I got this way. Look at this mess. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
I want you to answer immediately. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sorry.